Hello beautiful people and welcome to the channel Life After Narc. My name's Debbie and I talk about all things to do with narcissistic, abusive and toxic relationships, as well as looking at healing from them. In today's video I'm going to be talking about the brutal discard. This is when the narcissist leaves you in the worst possible way that they can. They will hurt you as much as they can because this is your final supply to them. This is where they take everything. Before I get into the detail though, if you enjoy the content, please click the like button, please subscribe to the channel and share with your friends or family, anybody who you think may benefit from this. So, there are 4 chapters in a narcissistic relationship. There's the love bombing or idealization phase, and this is wonderful. This is when you feel like you have been put onto a pedestal and you are loved so much. This person has come into your life and brought you so much happiness. But then comes number 2, the devaluation. This is when the narcissist starts to be nasty to you in small ways at first. They become controlling, manipulative, and start to disregard you and ignore your needs and wants and ignore your love. Well, they don't ignore your love, they take your love, but they ignore giving you love in return. Then we have the discard. This is the end of the relationship. This is when they leave, and I'm specifically talking about when they leave because they are discarding you. Now, the narcissist prefers to do this than you leaving them because it gives them the biggest amount of supply. If you leave them, they have nothing that they can gain from that. They have no supply. So I'll talk about that in another video in the future, but when they leave you, it is the ultimate pain, the ultimate suffering that you will go through because you will be so confused after all of the gaslighting and manipulation that you've gone through. So maybe they tell you to leave and they kick you out. Perhaps it's their home, perhaps they rent it or they own it. And that's it, you're left with nothing. Perhaps you've shared your finances or you have very little money, perhaps you have children, but that's it. Where do you go? I will suggest you contact a women's aid organization in this regard. They often have places, safe houses where you can go to for a night or two until hopefully they sort you out with a more permanent accommodation. Maybe they leave you, as I've already said, and probably they'll leave you without any prior notice at all. You'll get home and they've gone. That's it. Gone. No letter, no word, no phone call, nothing. They've just gone. They've taken their stuff and left. You look around and you think, well, where are my things? They've taken some of your things as well. They do this. It is what they think they're entitled to. Narcissistic personality types are that people who think that they are entitled to whatever you have. Maybe physical violence has occurred. And I sincerely hope it hasn't. But if it has, I hope that you managed to contact the police and had them arrested and taken away, and I hope that you are able to recover from that again by using a service such as Women's Aid, where you can get the help that you need, as well as looking at legal ways and legal matters moving forwards. All of these exits by the narcissist are brutal, and yes, I will say that physical violence is the worst, but to each and every single one of us, all of these exits are the worst. We cannot compare ourselves and say, well, my discard was worse than yours because X, Y, Z, or my discard was worse than yours because of A, B, C. It's a discard. They've gone. They've left you. It's horrible. They've thrown you out. It's awful. They've hurt you in the worst way they possibly can, and they know they have. They love this. This is the biggest supply they've ever had. They have no respect or regard for you and your feelings, or anyone else around them for that matter. Again, they're entitled. They feel so entitled to everything in life that they should get whatever they need, that it's their right to have these things. What can you expect if the narcissist has left you? Well, or you are leaving the narcissist. Record everything. Record it on your phone. I know a lot of women who are in physically abusive relationships do have a spare phone. So you may want to keep it on this phone. Write things down as they happen. Try and have witnesses with you as well if you can. Try and get a friend to come and help you where needed. As I said already, contact a women's aid group. Let them help you. They will give you guidance. They will ask you a list of questions of what's going on, and they will point you in the right direction. I didn't know that being pinned to the floor by your partner was actually physical abuse, and that I could actually lay charges against this person for that. I really didn't know that. I had no idea that I could do that, because you're so in that narcissistic fog, which I spoke about in a previous video, that you are confused. You don't know what's going on anymore, but you can actually lay charges against them for that. The narcissist will make sure that this ending is as difficult and hurtful and devaluing and discriminative and despicable and insidious and as possible. They will do everything in their power to hurt you. The words they use will be disgusting. All these wonderful words of love that they profess to you back on your wedding day, all these vows that you made to each other, mean absolutely nothing to the narcissist at all. Nothing. They've already smeared your name with their friends, with their family, and you may find that flying monkeys now start to get involved with this whole brutal discard, and they start to shout at you, telling you that you were the bad person, you were the one that caused all of this, you were the one to blame. No, you didn't pin yourself to the floor, did you? You didn't hit yourself or punch yourself in the face. You didn't throw yourself out in the middle of the night with nothing to go with nothing in your pocket, no money. You didn't tell the narcissist to leave. Or maybe you did, and that's a good thing if you did, but I doubt that they would go on their own volition. So there's this empty space within you now. It's huge, it's hollow. They were the hollow person when you met them. Remember that. They took everything from you, and now you are the hollow person. You're left with nothing. Least of all, your self-worth, your self-regard, your self-confidence. You have been stripped of everything. You'll spend a lot of time grieving, and I know this, and this grief can go on for a while. It doesn't just go away in a week or 2 weeks, and it's not the same kind of grief as you have after a person you loved has passed. That grief has an ending because you know that that person has gone. They're not in this world anymore. They have moved over to the other side. They are now in spirit, and you accept that. But when that person has left you in this vicious, horrible, nasty way, you are left with more grief than you ever would have expected from somebody passing. They will also say things to you in the discard that are horrible. They will say things such as you're old, you're fat, you're ugly, your sex is no good, you dress awfully. And one thing that my narcissist said to me, which was horrendous, was, I want children. Now, I had actually miscarried quite close to the beginning of our relationship, and then I went into early menopause. So it turned out that I couldn't have children anymore, that this was it. I don't have children. And he always said that it didn't bother him. It didn't matter to him. He was too selfish a person. I can agree with that. He was too selfish. But when he left, he had decided he wanted children. He lied to me all that time. For about 8 years, he lied. 8 years of lies that he did want children. And all of this time, he despised me. He hated me for the person that I had become, that he had molded me into. They'll ask for ridiculous demands. They may leave you on a day or time that is important to you, perhaps a wedding anniversary, a birthday, a family anniversary, or even a funeral after the death of a loved one. They make it as painful as possible. And the apology that I got from my ex was a non-apology. It was, I'm sorry for the shit timing. That was it. That was it. I just lost my father. If the tables had been turned, I would not have left then. I would have waited until my partner had had a chance to grieve. Because that's what an empath will do. And remember that you're the empath. You're the person who has all of these feelings. And this is why you are being abused like this. They'll have no respect for you at all. They'll say they're going to pick things up on a certain date at this time with no discussion with you at all. They may contact your family or your friends and say, I want you to be there because I'm scared of this person. Meanwhile, you're the one that's scared because they're the one that pinned you down to the floor. And they're the one that has threatened you in these ways. You are terrified. You're living with your doors locked all the time. You're living in fear that something's going to happen to you. What if you bump into this person when you're out? So you don't go out, you stay in. If you have children, they will blame the children as well. They will put blame on whomever they want to, pets included. They'll blame the pet, they'll blame the dog, the cat, the fish. They'll blame everything but themselves. They are always right. Remember that, they are always right. Now, if your partner has physically abused you, please lay charges with the police. It is vitally important that that happens. Perhaps you have bills to sort out, assets to sort out, a car. Children need to be, decide who's going to have custody of the children. And all of these things lay extra stress and pressure onto you, and it's brutal. Now, if they have left their stuff here and they've said they're going to come and collect it, my advice to you is pack it all. Pack all their stuff, because if you don't, they'll leave their junk. They will. They'll take what they want and leave the rest, and you'll have to get rid of it. They'll have made all sorts of promises to you as well. For example, don't worry, I'll pay next month's rent, or I'll pay next month's council tax or the gas bill, and then they renege on that. And they'll say, oh, I'll do a tip run with all the junk that I've left in your garage or in your shed, and then they don't. Perhaps they've borrowed money from you at some point in the past, and they'll deny that they borrowed that money, and they'll say that they paid it back even if they didn't, because they're still trying to gaslight you. They're still trying to confuse you. They're still trying to hurt you. They're still trying to get their supply from you. As I say, they will do as much damage as possible. And if you want to hear more about my vile experience with the narcissist, I'm going to put a link to a video that I did called The Narcissist Grand Finale. It's my most watched video on YouTube. It's had over 1,800 views already. I would really ask you to share that. It is the truth. And it is quite amusing. And it is what the narcissist will do. They will discard you in the worst way they possibly can, because they get their jollies from it. So I'd love to know what you experienced. Put something in the comments below if you want to share. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time. Blessed be.